Hi, and welcome to the Same 24 Hours podcast. I'm Meredith Atwood, author of the book, The Year of No Nonsense. I'm a former attorney turned writer, speaker, and Ironman triathlete. Although right now, all I really like to do is lift weights. We all have the same 24 hours, but it's what we do in those hours that leads to our greatest health, happiness, and success. It's my goal to crack the code on a life of less nonsense so we can all make the most of our 24 hours. So let's get started. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Same 24 Hours podcast. I'm Meredith Atwood, your cruise director, as usual.
I like that.
Very excited. I've been saying that like every episode, and everyone's like, oh, it's really not funny anymore, but I can't think of anything else. Your ship captain. Here I am. But welcome. Omar Pinto is here. How are you, friend?
I am doing fantastic. Meredith, thank you for having me. I'm stoked.
I'm very excited. I'm excited to speak to you. So let me tell everyone who you are, but I want you to tell everyone who you are because I like it when people give their own bios. So introduce yourself. Who are you? And let's get the scoop, the backstory.
Okay. Well, there's a lot. We even talked about this on your interview. Like when I read off your bio, it's like, wow, is it really all that? Is
this for real?
Is this for real? It just feels so, I just want to say that, what is it? I'm married. I have 2 kids and, I
like cookies.
I like cookies, something like that. Right.
That'll work.
Yeah, that'll work. So yeah, me too. I'm married. I'm also divorced. I've got a 17-year-old daughter with my first wife. I've got 17 years in recovery from drugs and alcohol. I'm a life coach. I'm a recovery coach. I live in Costa Rica.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right. I live in I've been here for 20 years.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I'm on the personal development journey that has led me to Meredith. But I guess more importantly, more than anything, I'm a seeker, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm constantly seeking. I'm trying to constantly evolve. I'm constantly trying to be a better human being, which allows me to be a better coach, a better community leader, a better husband, a better father, better friend.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, I find when I am looking for answers for myself, I'm so much better equipped to help other people. I'm so much better equipped to put my money where my mouth is and live accordingly. Like that's part of the reason that I put everything out there because it helps me stay accountable to be a coach. It's very selfish.
Does.
Maybe my reasons are all wrong, but I'm still doing it.
It does help. Oh, and I forgot to say that most people would probably recognize me from the SHAIR podcast.
Yes,
so
your podcast, the SHAIR podcast.
That's where it all kind of stemmed from. And I don't give the podcast enough credit because if it wasn't, I've been doing the podcast for 5 years now. And if it wasn't for the podcast, I wouldn't be a coach. I wouldn't have my online community. I wouldn't be on this call with you. So it all started when I took a chance on myself and launched this podcast, the SHAIR podcast, spelled SHAIR. And the SHAIR podcast is a recovery podcast where I interview people who have battled with addiction, have come out the other side. They give their beautiful, inspiring journey of recovery. And I've met just the most amazing people, and it's opened up so many doors for me. So I don't give it enough credit. So I need to give my podcast some kudos.
Yeah, let's pat the podcast on the back. So you were 12 years sober when you started the podcast. What led you to, like, what about 12 years made you think, okay, now I'm going to start talking about it in a public forum, like a podcast, or what kind of led you to start the podcast?
I was lost. I was in a place where I was open and vulnerable and curious because I was stuck. I guess that's the best way to describe it. There was something about, my journey into personal development started in 12-step recovery, Narcotics Anonymous in particular, and then over to Alcoholics Anonymous. So I spent the first 10 plus years in 12-step recovery. And when I met my wife, she was into just every type of personal development and spiritual practices and certifications. And she was taking Reiki and acupressure, and she's a yoga instructor. And like, there's all these things that she was doing. She's also has a master's degree in business finance. So that's like what she does. She's always like, it's like, it's funny how you describe me as this kind of like woo wanderer, right?
Yeah.
But I pay the bills here. You know what I mean? So she's the primary breadwinner, right? So I need to honor the fact that she's wicked smart, and she's she works for Citibank, and so
not to discount the woo-woos, but you can be woo-woo and extremely
that's the
successful
thing
as well.
Yeah, she's got her full-time gig, but then she's got all these other stuff that's on the side. And I was like, I was stuck. Why aren't I evolving? Why aren't I growing?
Where's my side hustle?
Where's my side hustle? And so I became very passionate about podcasting. Once I started listening to them, I started listening to them addictively. It was an hour commute, both ways. So I was like, I've got time. I could be feeding my brain with information. So I started listening to podcasts. I was listening to Entrepreneur on Fire in particular. And John Lee Dumas on there was talking about his course called Podcaster's Paradise, which I just recently launched a podcast course myself to teach people how to launch podcasts.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, guess what? I learned how to do it. And there's people that are always asking me, how'd you do it? I'm like, okay, well, I'll put together a course to teach people how to do it.
Let's know why you really did it. Cause you got tired of hey, Omar, can I pick your brain?
There's a course for that. There's a course right here. Right. And
I get that too. Can I pick your brain on how to start a podcast? Nope.
It all depends on who it is too.
Right. Of course.
Otherwise I'm like, here, watch this video.
It's too much to explain. And then but that's awesome. You started a course. Good for you. I will refer people to your course. Set me up with an affiliate link so I can make $2.50 a referral.
Okay. All right. I'm pretty sure I have that in there. So really I started, I was so inspired by what he was doing and so, addicted to podcasts. I'm like, dude, I'm going to start my own podcast. I'm going to join this. I'm going to do this thing. So, I paid for the course, and it took me a year, right, to figure out what I was going to do the podcast on. Now, prior to this, I had not been introduced to the concept of imposter syndrome. I didn't know what imposter syndrome was until I started listening to the podcasts and entrepreneurs talking about imposter syndrome and going, ooh, I have that. I have that. Oh my God, I have that. Oh, it's all making sense now. I'm a fraud. That's what it is. Oh.
Yeah, I have that line in my book. I was a fraud.
I'm pretty sure everyone on the planet has this syndrome as well. That's why we have jobs.
But people won't admit it.
Yeah, no.
Not everyone admits it.
Or you don't even know you have it, right? It's like, I just, go get an education, with that education, go get a job, and then work your way up the ladder in that job, right? And then you do all these things that, were programmed into our minds to believe that this is what we have to do. And then one day you're like, well, I want to do my own thing, but I'm not qualified to do anything, right? So
I have no life experience, no advice. No.
Right.
We're all I get it.
So it helped me tremendously. So I'll caveat by saying, for those of you listening, if you don't know what to do, go listen to podcasts, right? Go to YouTube and type in things that you're interested in and allow someone else to feed you information, especially entrepreneurship, because personal development and entrepreneurship is really kind of free from dogma, free from programming, free from absolutes. it really gives you like a buffet of options of what you could do, because what it asks you to do, what it encourages you to do, is to be curious and ask yourself, hey, what is it that I'm passionate about? What is it that I love to do? And so I remember one day when I couldn't figure out what I was going to do on my podcast, and I'm listening to Gary Vaynerchuk, and he's got this book called Crush It. And I was listening to it on, I don't read, so I listen. Okay. Yeah. So that's how I absorb books. And so I'm driving to work. I still remember what time of day it was. I remember the weather, right? I'm driving to work. I'm listening to Crush It. And he gets to this part in the book where he says, forget about making money. Forget about making money. Find something that you are passionate about, that you are great at, or that you are at least really good at. Something that you can do regardless of whether you make money or not. Okay. And then double down on that. Become an expert on what you're already good at. Stop trying to become good at stuff that you're not good at. So many people spend their whole lives trying to become good at things that they don't even enjoy just because they think they're supposed to be doing it. Yes. And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. I'm launching a podcast on recovery. I could talk about recovery all day long. I've been doing it for 10 years. It's the only thing I'm an expert at, right? That's what I had convinced myself. That's the only thing I'm an expert at. It's the only thing I've been doing for over 10 years. That was true. Okay. It was nothing I'd managed to do for that consistent amount of time, right?
That's a big one.
That is a big one. It is. And it turned out to be a really big one because when I made that commitment to start the podcast, and I talked to my wife about it, and she's like, I love it. I think it's fantastic. It's like who you are. Right. And so her and I, came up with the name, the SHAIR podcast. At the time, it meant Sharing Helps Addicts in Recovery. But I changed it to Sharing Helps All in Recovery. Because not just addicts, I think sharing, being vulnerable, being open, it helps everyone. And for many of us that are in the 12-step community, there's this kind of idea where we've adopted was, wow, if everyone worked the 12 steps, if everyone had a place to come and share openly and vulnerably about what's going on in their lives, it could really help everyone.
Right.
And really that's the truth for all of us is if you can get to a place or into a community of individuals where you can talk about your life, where you're struggling, what you're afraid of, what your concerns are, you're going to get feedback from people, assuming that they're, the right people for you, your tribe, your crew, your people. Find them, share with them, and you're gonna get answers and insight that you never really expected. So moving into becoming launching the podcast and then starting to interview people and meeting people that I'd never met before, and then this is what we're doing. We're having these conversations and opening up doorways to possibilities and experiences and knowledge that, I could maybe spend my whole life trying to find this information, but within the context of a conversation, I get some like amazing gold nuggets that boom, I broadcast out into, the radio waves of the world. And guess what? Now here we are, you and I on this call because of all that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you raised such a great point. I mean, Gary V, he's always talk about soundbite truth bombs. That man's got some. But yeah, I was actually talking to a client yesterday who has this great business idea. And she's all about business, and she has a day job. And so what you had said about Gary V is I had asked her, I said, would you do this for free? Because she's trying to figure out how to leverage it, right, to get out of the day job. And that question stumped her for a minute. And I said, okay, well, if you would do it for free, then you should be doing it for free right now. Like right now, let's do it now. And, I'm all about the side hustle until you can pivot into the full hustle. But it is that question of, would you do whatever you dream of doing for free? And because that's probably what you're good at. We like the things, we do the things we're good at for free every day. If you like to play basketball, I mean, no one's got you a basketball, so I love that. I love that approach. And you had the wherewithal to be like, hey, I'm good at not drinking today. I'm going to run with that. Woohoo. And it's great. Yeah.
And, I charge to be a coach now, but I did it for free for over 10 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Coaching, mentoring, sponsorship, whatever you want to call it. Okay. I would sit one-on-one with men, and I did this for over 10 years. And so, like you said, is it something that you could do for free? I'm like, I've been doing it for free, and I love doing it.
Yeah.
Right. Is there a possibility? Is there in the realm of possibilities? Is there a possibility that the thing that I love and the thing that I'm really good at and the thing that I'm currently doing for free has some sort of financial, payoff somewhere along the line? Is there a way that I could, charge for what it is that I do? And that's the big question. But there's also the imposter syndrome that gets in the way, that goes, well, I need a certification, I need more time, and I need this and I need that. This is how I usually tell people, because when they say, well, I don't know. And I said, look, when I first started coaching, I kind of put my coaching program together, like how I was going to do it. Then I reached out to a few of my friends and said, hey, listen, I'm going to be launching a coaching platform. I'm going to be coaching people one-on-one, but I'd love to coach you for free, just to kind of work out the butterflies. Okay. And so they're like, oh, heck yeah, for sure, man. Free coaching. And, it was the best thing that I probably coached like 3 people for free. That was it. And then I was like, God, I've been doing this for years. Oh my God. Oh my God.
You
I've already
realize
been
really quickly that you can do it, especially when it's for free. You're like, wait a minute, I can do this.
Oh, dude, I got this.
Yeah.
I got this. Yeah. Right. Here's the thing too. And this is where, as far as being an entrepreneur, is the cart before the horse. I'd been doing the podcast for close to 3 years before I launched my coaching platform. So I had a following, I had a social media presence, I had some social credibility,
right?
I had, and so when people go out and they get their certifications, it's just like anything else. I go and I got my degree, my bachelor of science degree in whatever. And then I go out and I get a job. I go and apply for jobs. Well, what's your experience? Well, I've been in school for the last 6 years, man. I don't have no experience. Well, you need to go get some experience first. So now guess what you have to do? You have to go work for free.
Right.
You have to go get an internship somewhere, work for free after you've just spent all this money on an education. It's like, wow, this is what I've always dreamed of. It's like,
who's paying my student loans? Oh,
right. Who's paying my
nobody. Wow. My course is going to be a high school required course for every state in our nation. It's going to have financial responsibility, and it's going to teach people what adulting really means. I don't know how to get that course in school, but you're exactly right. It's cart before the horse, all of it.
It's all cart before the horse. So here's the thing. I had no idea, which is probably the best thing. If you don't know what you're doing and you're doing it anyway, you got a better shot.
Yeah, true. Okay? And you're not afraid because you don't know you need to be afraid.
Yeah, I'm not afraid. I'm doing a podcast that I'm not looking to. I had a day job.
Yeah.
This is just this fun hobby side hustle that maybe someday we'll do something, right? But in the meantime, I'm just going to have fun. It's just cool to say I have a podcast, right? So let me just run with that. That feels like it's cool. And boom, I just started doing the podcast, and eventually I figured out what the next step was. So again, you figure out the thing that's fun for you, the thing that you're excited about, passionate about, and you just go out and you just do it. Ultimately, if you can build some sort of a following, then those people, they get to know, like, and trust you. And once people get to know, like, and trust you, they will buy from you because they're like, oh, you know what? I'm looking for this anyway. And I kind of like what, they got going on over here. Let me just try it, right? Let me just see, what have I really got to lose? But if you go at it and you're like, okay, I'm a coach now and I'm gonna like change my Facebook profile and like now I'm a coach and like now I'm like, boom, I launched
open
my
for
coaching
business.
practice. I'm open for business. Crickets.
That's hard. That's
Crickets.
hard.
That's real hard, man.
It's
like
hard.
It's so much. I mean, like
I don't like to watch it. It hurts
Right.
me. I see it and I'm like, no, say you didn't.
Right. Like,
and then I feel like a judgmental asshole, but it's because of exactly what you're saying. It's cart before the horse. That's all. Like you have to have at some point been putting out some sort of message or content or value for like years before people want to pay you for anything. Like they're not going to pay you because you went to school. No, like, and then even when you do go to school and have 10 years of experience, they still don't want to pay you. And that's so funny because you mentioned that. I have yet to monetize this podcast. And let me tell you why. Sheer laziness. Literally, I am way too lazy to monetize it. And I should be. I think ads are annoying. It's
laziness?
Well, it's very strategic because it's the superiority complex too. And here's why. Because I'm like, I don't make you listen to ads on my podcast. So that makes me better than everyone else. But it's really like, but it is laziness and it's also imposter syndrome because I feel like to ask people to give me money for something that I've been doing for free for almost 4 years now, I have a problem with that. I don't like to ask people for money. So everyone's like, well, how do you make money? And I'm like, well, I coach people, but I also don't advertise that very well either. I'm like this underground, like somebody please find value in me. And I've been at this 10 years and it's getting silly. So I have imposter syndrome to a very big fault. Very big. Mine is bad. Well, I have lots of carts and horses and I don't even do anything with them. They're just in the barn.
Awareness is half the battle.
I know.
So you have this awareness, but here's the thing. I have a very strong belief in the universe and the guiding force of the universe. If I was destined, because I kind of play the tape through. I go, God, been doing this podcast for I don't know how many years and I don't have enough listeners to qualify for some of the big sponsorship deals because you have to have at least 10,000 downloads per episode for sponsors to take you seriously.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I was like, well, I haven't reached those numbers. And so what does that mean about me as a podcaster? So then I'm like judging myself, right? Like I should be here. I should be there.
And then you go down the dark alley and you're like, is this where I buy downloads? Whatever. Because we're addicts, right? We're like, how can we sneak something? We can sneak this, downloads.
But here's the thing that I've come to understand about my journey. If I would have been an overnight podcast success where I would have been making all the money I ever dreamed of doing my podcasts, I wouldn't have started coaching people.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have evolved as a human being. I wouldn't have hired a coach. I wouldn't have gotten certified as a coach. I wouldn't have gone through all the work necessary to launch my product, to launch my practice. I would have missed all that.
Yeah.
And I would have just been this real egocentric, egomaniac, I did it. I did it, man. You know what I mean? Like, you little people. Right. I probably would have become a real asshole. And I think that the universe knows the tendency my ego has to drink the Kool-Aid.
Oh man, Omar. I don't like what you're saying. You're right. The universe has probably 5 more years of lessons to teach me before I can handle
5?
it. I'm in this 10. They say 10 years to an overnight success. It's been 10 and a half. And I still think like, oh my gosh, if I took off in whatever direction, the book, the podcast, whatever.
It's all of that stuff. So you've got all this stuff out there. Okay.
Just floating.
Yeah. But when do I believe in me?
Yeah.
That's all it is.
I'm close, you know, and it all comes down to speaking your truth and not worrying about who doesn't like you for it. Mm-hmm. And that is new for me because in recent events, this is all very new for me. I tried to kind of play middle of the road, like have everyone like me. How does everyone like me? I want everyone to like me. And in recent events, I realized it doesn't matter. It matters that the people who like me, but it doesn't matter for the people that don't like me, or if they stop liking me because I speak my truth. That means they're kind of bungled up in their own truth. They're having trouble being honest with themselves, because I think people that can't speak their own truth have trouble with other people's truths, right? So yeah, you're right. It's about having that confidence in who I am, and that's new. I think it's new. So I haven't, like you said, you wouldn't have been ready. I wouldn't have been ready either. So we'll see.
Have you seen the series, The Politician?
No.
Okay. I highly recommend
watching. Oh, I need a new series. Thank you. The Politician.
It's brilliant writing. And there's always these little gold nuggets that they drop. And so in the beginning of one of the episodes of season 2, you know, he's the main actor. He's playing piano at a bar. He's an incredible singer. And he says, you know, I've been in New York now for I don't know how long. And, you know, I asked somebody here, I said, you know, when do you become a New Yorker? I mean, you know, so I take the subways and I drink this, and, you know, he's giving examples of what you do when you're in New York, right? He says, but when do you actually become a New Yorker? And he says, you become a New Yorker when you say you're a New Yorker, or when you say that you are, and then you believe that it's true. When you say that you are and you believe that it's true. And I'm like, oh my God, if people are listening, I bet you there's a lot of people that are listening right now and they're not even catching it.
I'm a New Yorker, Omar. I'm a New Yorker. Right.
It's when you say that you are and you believe that it's true.
It's not a fake it till you make it. It's I made it. I'm here. Hello.
I'm an entrepreneur because I said it and I believe that it's true.
Yeah.
I am the best coach on the planet because I say so and I believe that it's true. And I was like, oh my God, I am using this. This is gold.
Yes, this is gold.
It is all about the universe. It is all about what comes out of my mouth. Okay, so what comes out of my mouth is attached to a belief system. When I say that I'm the best coach and inside I don't believe it, then it's not true.
Mm. Yeah.
But if somewhere inside I believe that what I do, who I am, the experience that I hold, the knowledge that I have, okay, can do what it is that I say that I can do, then it's true. It's really that simple. But getting behind that concept for most people, it's like, I don't know what you're talking about, man.
You're crazy. You're
crazy, man. Like, oh, I just say that it is, you know?
Right.
You know?
People don't realize that what we say, our emotions, that is our reality.
That is our reality. When you say that you are and you believe that it's true.
Mm.
And that's everything. And so here's what I did. I said, I'm going to launch a coaching practice. I want to coach some people. Let me coach you. And as soon as I did it a couple of times, what did I do? I believed that it's true.
Yeah.
And now I'm just really fucking good at it. Right? Period. End of story. That's just it. Like, yeah. This is part of who I am, is what I do. And I remember when I launched my recovery community. So it's $12 a month for a paid membership community. It's a paid recovery community. The recovery community came down on me.
Sure they did.
Like shrieking vultures.
How dare
you can't charge for recovery? Recovery is for free. How'd you pay for that shitty coffee in the AA meeting? Oh, we collected contributions. I'm like, dude, I mean, listen, I'm so done with the dogma and the structure. And I'm like, look, I'm going to open up a recovery community and I am going to create value in there that is it's going to exceed by far $12 a month. And yes, I had a bunch of people jump all over me for the first, I don't know how many months. I couldn't tell you. And there was a part of me that was like, dude, you knew this was going to happen. God, this sucks so bad. Oh, I hate this. Like the PMs and the emails and the live posts that they put on there on my wall. And it's like, oh God, I go, how much more of this can I take? And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it disappeared. What happened? Where did they go? Where did the naysayers go? Where did the criticism? Where did the critics go? I don't know. But I had to believe somewhere in there that what I was doing was the right move.
Yeah.
And so I am convinced without a doubt that if you believe in yourself and you believe in a higher power and you believe in what you're doing, that you can jump. You can jump. And you're going to hit some rocks along the way. Boom, you're going to hit a rock. Boom, you're going to come down. And it's going to be like one of those comedies where it's like, ow, boom, ow, boom. You're going to hit a branch. You're going to hit this, but you're not going to die.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt. You're going to take your lumps. But at some point, you're going to land. And you're going to be staring there, looking out at the ocean, sitting on the beach going, I did it.
Yeah.
Like, I did it. And even though I was terrified of what other people were going to think of me, and I hated the criticism, and I was hating all the haters, I did it. And I'm here, and I survived. And now I'm in this place with only the people that believe in me too.
Yes.
And that's what I have today.
The power. Yeah. Yeah. So I have done a lot of business ventures over the years. Similarly, like you started the podcast before like everyone had a podcast. So you got your foot in early and established, and that's awesome. I did that with Facebook groups. So I was making Facebook groups and doing programs and stuff within those long before everyone was making Facebook groups. And so I had a few of those where we charged and had, other coaches, nutrition stuff and blah, blah, blah. And they went well. A lot of people, I got some hate for it, but then people would come do the programs, they would get value, and it stopped eventually. But I got burned so many times that I just kind of stopped. And I think it wasn't the failure and the hitting the rocks that hurt me. It was landing at the bottom and being like, I don't think I can do this again. and the funny thing is I'm positioned now beautifully, like beautifully. I have 8 years of coaching experience. I have 2 books. I have a successful podcast. And yet I sit here like, what am I going to do with my life? Because I'm scared of all the rocks I hit coming down. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to go out and find another cliff. I don't want to climb back. That's what it is. I don't want to climb back up and jump again.
So good.
But I'm literally sitting on gold. Like I could create a program. I could go speak. I could before
you
COVID.
could. Not now.
I mean, everything is like right here. Like just pick me up. You can give me a TV series too, probably, because I'm dumb enough to do it. But I think I don't know. What do you think my fear is? Is it laziness?
You just said it. No, you just said it. It was beautiful.
I don't want to.
You just said it. I don't want to hit. I know what it's like to hit those rocks.
Yeah.
I hate it. I know what it feels like at the bottom where I'm like, I made it. Oh God, I did it. But to climb back up again and do it all over again, oh man, am I prepared to hit those rocks all over again? And so really, and I don't even know, here's the thing. The question you have to ask yourself is, am I quitting 5 minutes before the miracle? Because I might have already hit all the rocks. Yeah. And all I got to do is put out the sign and wait.
Well, and I think there's a part of me that has always been small. You know, I've been a big fish, small pond. I was in the sport of triathlon and big fish in the small pond of triathlon. And so there's a part of me that is scared of playing bigger because I don't know what that looks like. Because, you know, you can't tell the future. Mm-hmm. We don't know what that feels like. Like, what does it feel like to have 4,000 people write hateful comments instead of 4? What does it feel to have, you know, 10,000 bad book reviews and 120,000 great ones, but 10,000 people hate your guts? You know, what does that feel like? And so, like, for me, it's almost the scalability. Like right now, the number of people that loathe me is relatively small. They're a fierce bunch, but they're small. But it's like, I know them. Like, I know where you live. And if like tons of people start hating me, then I don't know where they all live, and they could be at the grocery store. And it's this whole conspiracy theory based in fear of being disliked, which goes way back and feeds my addict. Ding, ding, ding. How's that, Coach?
Well, yeah, but I think
like,
no, because here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that you haven't decided what it is you want to double down on because you've got too much stuff.
Yeah.
Here I am. I'm like, do I want to focus on the book? Do I want to focus on coaching? Do I want to focus on, like, as soon as I commit, because here's the thing, it's more of like, I have all this stuff. What am I going to commit to?
Yeah.
Am I going to commit to the coaching? Am I going to commit to creating an online course? Am I going to commit? So it's just about pick one.
Yeah. This was always my problem. I had a yard sale.
Oh, yeah.
I'm doing it again. Yeah.
You know, and I've had to do that. They're all, you know, they're always talking about niche down.
Yeah.
Also, niche down on your offerings. So I have all this stuff. What does that give you? A book and a podcast and, you know, courses gives you credibility. So pick the one thing that you love doing. So, for example, for me, it was coaching.
Yeah.
And the more I coach, the better I get, the better I feel, and more opportunities present themselves.
Yeah.
So if I just decide, okay, so for right now, here's what I'm going to do. I've got all this stuff, but here, this thing right here, this is what I'm going to focus. I'm going to promote this. I'm going to focus on getting better at this. I'm going to focus on growing this. And I'm going to allow the universe to guide me on this. And I'm going to give myself X amount of time to just go into this. And if in this amount of time, you know, I recognize it's not working, then I'm going to pivot.
Yeah.
What is it that you want to do?
Okay, so here, you know, this podcast is supposed to be about you. We already did. Okay, I'm going to give myself like 3 more minutes, and then we're going to talk more about you.
All right.
Okay, so I want to be a writer. I want to write books. I want to write hundreds of books. I love writing. I love being an author. I take it makes me so happy to know that someone could pick up my book and it might help them. And I will never know who they are. Like, I love that. I love that universe feeling because it feels so, because I've picked up books that have changed my life and I've never even told the author, which I do now. I try to find them and send them a note. So that's that. But the caveat to that is there's another person determining your worth. There's a publisher who decide, and I'm like, hello, I'm ready to write another book. And I'm like, and they won't respond, you know? So I'm like, you're kind of in my way. I'm ready to write another book. So there's that. But I think my superpower is in communication, and one-on-one, like my coaching clients, it's gold. It's gold. But I also like just communicating. I like doing it all, Omar. That's the problem. But summary, coaching is where I'm going to put my focus. I'm joining a company next year to coach with them. They have a very diversity centric focus. I'm super stoked about it. So there's that. But if I could do anything, I would just write books all day long.
Okay. All right. So
you're complicated.
Well, no. Because here's the thing. There's the things, like I said, like I'm passionate about certain things. I'm passionate about writing. I would love to write books all day. Right. And I would love to do my podcast, which is what I do. I focus on, putting out great content and, having great guests and having great interviews. Right. But what has that done for me? What has that yielded for me? Right. And so I go, the podcast itself wasn't yielding the financial returns that I needed. So I need to leverage that with a way of making a living. Right. So coaching is going to have to be, as far as financial, it's something I'm really good at. And it's something that I could, potentially make good money with. So even though I love the podcast and creating content and providing value, I know where the bread and butter is going to come from.
Yeah.
So here's what I would challenge you to do. Just create an audio ad that promotes your coaching and put it at the beginning of every one of your episodes and see what the universe delivers based on your faith. Because if I say that I'm a coach and I believe that it's true, then I'm going to put an ad out there. I'm going to put up my shingles. I'm going to hang my shingles up, right? And the best way for me to do it is on my podcast where people are listening to me.
Yeah.
And then just see that's what I did.
And
let's see what happens. Yeah. I didn't go and I didn't pay for Facebook ads. Right. I didn't start doing videos talking about, nothing. Yeah.
I mean, anytime I post on Instagram, like, hey, I've got 2 slots open, I fill them in like 12 minutes. It's not, I don't really need more clients. You know what I mean? Because I coach them so one-on-one and so intensively. I don't know that, I don't know. It's
that's another thing too. The idea of, do I have enough time to handle all the clients?
And so then that's when I'm like, well, I need a course. Then I could, everyone could get the program. It's not hands-on. And so it's like, so then this is the cycle, like, that I get whirling in. And so then I like do everything half-ass because I'm trying to like, okay, well, but I totally hear you. And I think, part of the freedom that's going to come for me is going to work full time as a coach with a company. Like, to me, that's going to help me because, okay, there's the financial thing. Now I can do the side hustle with my speaking and the podcast, and I'm free to do it because I'm not like trying to make a living at that. And it's so funny because then I'm back to doing side hustle in a different way. But this is helpful. And I know just from the clients I have, because I do career coaching too, that what you've said is going to be super helpful because I kind of directed you into some corners that they're in that I thought.
Yeah, and I'm ready to throw another bomb on you real fast.
Yeah,
because
I've taken up my time with my story though. But go ahead.
No, this is what I love to do, right? So now you've put me in the driver's seat, right?
Yeah. Okay.
The thing I do the best. And so I go, okay, great. So now my biggest fear is filling up my calendar. Like, if I put it out there, I'm pretty sure it's going to fill up. Oh my God, what am I going to do with all these clients? Right?
Right.
So here's the next step. When that happens, your coach, what's the next logical step when I have too many clients?
To hire someone. I'm a terrible manager. No? When you have
next
too many
guest, please.
I don't know. To coach them all and not sleep. That's what I would do.
Next guest, please.
Learn to say no. Am I failing? Did I fail your coaching school?
You raise your prices.
Oh, yes. I know. And I have. And then you, oh my God, you charge that much? Yes.
Oh, I love hearing that. That's when I know I'm charging enough.
Oh, it's not in my budget right now. Okay, fine. You asked me. Like, yeah, I have great guilt around that though. I have shame around it. Even though like each client I probably spend 12 to 15 hours a month with. Run that down hourly, people. I'm working for minimum wage if I don't.
Yeah, no. I'm working an hour a week with my clients. So that's 4 hours a month. Okay. And I do client notes for them, which takes me roughly about an hour. Let's just average it out. Okay. So I spend 2 hours per client. Okay. Based on our coaching call. And sometimes we'll go over, you know what I mean? Depending on, whatever. But bottom line is, let's just say that I'm spending about 2 hours on average per client. So that's 8 hours a month on a client, right? Yeah. And I charge them $200 an hour, which roughly boils down to $100 an hour when it comes to the time I work with them and then the time that I spend afterwards processing, which is really where I get most of, like, once I'm processing the notes, things start to come to me and I'm like, right? And then I'll send them the notes and I'm like, oh, dude, that's it, right? And so there is this kind of like special formula that I have that works just for me. But when I was charging $100 an hour and my calendar filled up and I went to my coach and I said, dude, I don't know if I can handle this. He goes, easy, double your prices, you'll be fine. I doubled my prices, and not only did the workflow slow down, but there's a difference between $100 an hour clients and $200 an hour clients, which means there's going to be a difference between $300 clients and our clients and $200 clients. It's really perception, Meredith. All of this, this whole conversation we're having is based on perception. When somebody charges $50 an hour and somebody charges $250 an hour, you immediately think, oh my God, they must be, the second coming of Jesus Christ. Okay. So when there is, or somebody that charges $500 an hour, oh my God, what are you, an attorney?
I was.
Okay.
Like, why I have guilt about my billable hour now versus what it was. Like, I don't know.
Right. It's all perception. What is the value, my perceived value? And this is the conversation that's what coaching is so beneficial, because a coach helps you kind of process all this.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that at this point, your brain is like a little pinball, just going boing, 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 boing. It will land eventually. It's processing all this new information combined with, I already knew this information.
Right.
Right. It's like,
right.
Eventually it's going to land and you're going to have an opportunity to process. And that's what coaching does. It just, all this information gets thrown at me. I get to look at things from a different perspective and from a different lens. And then when it lands, I get to go, okay, I got all this information here. Let me move it around. Okay, let me put this here, and then this over here, and this, I don't need this for right now. We're going in this direction. That's really how it works.
Right. And that's what I would tell my clients. But I'm over here with my, whiteboard with lots of funky math equations on it, making it complicated. Yeah. You're on to something.
When you finally decide that you've overcomplicated your life and you're your own obstacle.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Then it's like, pick a lane and get on.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I mean, I know all this. I know.
I know you do.
I know. I don't want to. I want to lay at the bottom of the rocks and be like, this is too hard. I have toiled too long. I will not decide.
Yes. The
Yeah,
6-year-old. I don't wanna.
I don't want to, but it's my brat. It's my inner brat. She's loud. She's loud. And yeah, you're totally right. I mean, I know that, but it helps for, to be smacked upside the head with it. And I know this is going to be helpful for everyone listening. Like, it sounds like this is, another podcast of Meredith getting her life deconstructed, but this is the struggle. Like, what I speak of is what my clients struggle with. I mean, obviously, because I'm their coach, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it is that whole, what do I know what to do? We know, but why are we not doing it? Why are we not?
And that's another cool thing about, that's another wonderful thing about coaching and being coached, is that your coach doesn't have to know everything and be doing everything. Because chances are they're not doing the things that they're suggesting their clients do. That's not how it's supposed to work. What's supposed to work is you have someone that can see things in you that you can't see in yourself.
Right.
Okay? They can help you get out of your own way. It's, we need our own coach.
Yep.
It's part of the whole global dynamic. And that's all part of it, right? It doesn't mean that you can't coach someone with the same exact information that I'm giving you, deliver it strong, knowing the whole time, I'm not doing any of
that. Right. I mean, I have a Zoom call on Wednesday mornings with 3 of my clients, and it started out as a support group, and we ended up just like really liking each other. So we do it every Wednesday. And I was telling one of them this morning, like, yeah, you need to do this and you need to do this. And I was like, but I'm not going to do it. And they're like, well, we're going to put you on a group text, and you are. And I'm like, wait a minute. I just got no, but
no,
yeah.
I don't want
to, but it's true. It's good for me. Right. We know it's good. It's good, but you're right. It's about seeing where your sticking point is in or seeing what the sticking point is in someone else and helping them get through it.
I tell this to people all the time because everyone can be a coach. And, there's 3 skill sets that will help you in every aspect of your life. So number 1 is holding space. So when you hold space for someone else, and the reason why I'm saying holding space is because it's sacred. Somebody comes to you, I don't care for whatever reason, when someone comes to you and says, I need help, you create this very safe, sacred space for them. So I call it holding space for this person. And you intently listen. And while you're listening, what's going to happen is your intuition is going to be engaged. You're going to naturally, automatically launch your intuitive guidance system. We all know this. Somebody's talking and, you're like, all of a sudden, boom, suggestion, advice, suggestion, this, count, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, wow, thank you for that amazing advice. And you're like, wow, where did that come from? Right? We all have this instinctive, intuitive guidance system. When you hold space for someone else, right, you will access it. You will launch it. So you pay attention to it. And then all you have to do is just ask this person, whoever you're holding space for, open-ended questions, probing questions, powerful questions that allow them to expand. So how is it that you came to that conclusion? Or for what reason do you believe that? Or for what reason do you think you took that action? And there is this just intuitiveness that we all have that we access. And it doesn't mean that for whatever reason we can hold space for ourselves, launch the intuitive guidance system for ourselves, right? And ask ourselves those very important open-ended questions. It just, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's just human nature. That's how it was designed. Because if we could figure shit out on our own, we wouldn't need anybody, and then we just end up alone.
Yeah.
Okay, because I have all the answers.
Right.
I just know that that's how it works.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the things that I pride myself in, so I started a master's program in psychology last fall, and I quit. I quit after like 8 weeks because I was like, I don't want to be constrained by being a psychologist, because then I can't tell people what I really think. I'm going to be bound by ethics, and I already did this once with the legal profession, and I don't want to. You can tell I have a theme. It's called I don't want to. You can't make me. Mm-hmm. But what I realized in my value as a coach is I'm very willing to do everything you just said. And then I am willing to call you on your bullshit, like so hard, so fast. And like people don't like that. And I mean, I don't like it when people do it to me, but I do know that it has been the best thing that's ever happened to me is when those few people in my life have called me on my bullshit. And so I do that with my clients. And that is a strange and powerful gift to give someone that's willing to accept it, and to also know that I'm not always right, but it's just like what I can see. Be like, I'm smelling bullshit. How about you? And usually they're like, yeah, I'm smelling it too, and it's coming out of my own butt. Yep, there it is. I thought we smelled it, you know. So, and it's having that sense of humor too, but holding space, hearing them, and then being like, you're so full of it. You're so full of it, and you know it, and that's why you came to me. So what are we going to do about it?
It's the intuitive guidance system that's there. You know, you can choose to ignore it if you want to, but it's there for you to access so that you can help others.
Well, I want to be respectful of your time. Do you need to go?
Sorry. Oh my God. Okay. We're good. I think most people have gotten to know me. And listen, the most important aspect of all this is, I wonder if O can coach. Yeah, I think he can.
I think I sold you a few coaching programs today.
There you go.
We're like, oh my God, he coached that hot mess.
We're golden. We're ready.
I don't ascribe to that term anymore, by the way. I have rejected that label.
Which is?
Hot mess. I reject that.
Rejected.
Rejected. I'm a New Yorker.
Delete.
I'm a New Yorker. That's right. Well, Omar, thank you so much. Tell everyone where they can find you, and especially the podcast, because I do have a large recovery audience too. So shoot, where
absolutely. Are you? The best way to find me is 2 different websites. One is omarpinto.com. Right. So you can learn more about my coaching. And you can also go to theshairpodcast.com, spelled SHAIR, spelled SHAIR. And there is the podcast, there's the recovery community, and there's a bunch of free recovery resources for you to take advantage of. And you can connect with me there.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. This was awesome.
It was awesome and lots of fun. Thank you, Meredith. You are an amazing woman.
Thank you.